What's that sound? It's for amusement only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast.
Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Just a few topics here. This is going to be a quick one because tomorrow is Thanksgiving here in the U.S. And very happy Thanksgiving to all my listeners who are in the U.S. and those without. Thank you for listening. So Robo-Frenzy continues apace here. I have been continuing to wire the game. I'm approximately 50% wired, I think, at this point. I have the player unit, the timer unit, various relays, a lot of lamps, and a variety of switches complete. And I still have quite a bit left to do. Positional units, a whole bunch of other lamps, and some other relays. One of the tasks that I finished this past week was wiring up the scoring section and handling the score reels, end of stroke, all that kind of thing based off of the score relays. And that's all looking good and should be ready to go. So I'm very excited about that. But I still have the coin section left to do, basically starting the game. The 30 volt coils need to be switched. And then, of course, line voltage needs to be applied. And then I'll have to see just how badly I've screwed up the wiring. What catches on fire first, basically. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll have enough time to do that this weekend, but probably not. I have a very full weekend of family stuff, and that's exciting. So I'm going to be focusing on that mostly. But if I do have time in the late evenings or late nights, I'll be working on wiring. And so far, so good. It's taken a tremendous amount of wire. I couldn't believe how much wire I've actually used in this project. But again, so far, so good. In other news, the contest that I've been running to win a print of the Bingo Row will be ending as of this episode. I will extend it through tonight, so if you have any last-minute 5-in-a-lines, pre-Thanksgiving 5-in-a-lines, this is your time to get them in to me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, and I'll shoot you out a free print. I've had a good response to that, so thank you all very much for participating and for getting those big wins. Lastly, I'm not going to do a featured game this time because I have a little technical discussion that I thought might be of interest, and time is limited, unfortunately. I had a listener email me asking if there was any way to put a progressive bonus on a Zodiac pinball. Zodiac is one of the Bingo pinballs, and it is a 20-hole game, one that uses the Mystic Lines, and it has the traditional, at that point in time, OK game, as well as a variety of features for score doubling. 4 different colors, each which can have their own sets of values for replays, and a game that can score in the hundreds and hundreds of replays if you have it maxed out. Zodiac also has a really cool art package compared to a lot of those later Bingo pinball machines. So I responded to make a progressive bonus, which for the uninitiated would be something where your payout would be greater depending on how much you're putting into the game versus how much you're taking out. This progressive bonus would be potentially separate from your normal odds, and it would be just an extra cherry on top if you've been feeding the machine for a long time and not winning. This is different from the reflex in that the reflex is not a guaranteed award. Instead, the reflex just handles the initial portioning for any coin that's dropped. So, not the same thing. A progressive bonus is an actual award, a tangible award. So, to make a progressive bonus, you'd have to add a stepper or a reflex type unit that would decrement as you put money into the machine and increment as you won. Link that up between the payout switches on the control unit and the replay counter, and another switch or unit to increment for each replay. The game will continue to pay until the replay counter hits the standard amount. So if you wanted a 4 times payout on a progressive nature, check the finger of the progressive unit in question, then step the interim unit. Let's call it the progressive replay counter. Each time the unit hits 4 steps, pulse the reset coil on it, and step up the replay counter 1 time. You could wire this in between all 4 replay counters on Zodiac. Using a reflex-type differential system, you'd have a true progressive jackpot. And in that way, you'd be able to pay out 4 times max or 5 times max or however many multipliers you wanted to provide based on how many coins you're taking in versus how much you're winning. I think that could have real lasting appeal, especially if they were making them today. I'm sure they would have gone through that many times as the era of progressive jackpots and slot machines had kicked in. These type of modifications are interesting to think about. I treat them as kind of a thought exercise, but they're not something that I like to implement. I like the games to play as they did when they came from the factory. So I know for some people, that is what they're about, tweaking the game to their particular tastes. But that is just not the way that I like to fix games. I like to fix them as they were and enjoy them as articles of the particular time period in which they came out. But to each their own. So with that, I've got some wiring to do, and I've got some preparations to do for some family time. So I will bid you all adieu. Thank you very much for listening. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to me on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Google Play Music. You can follow me on Twitter at Bingo Podcast, or on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast. Or you can listen to me on my website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. If you're a video game enthusiast, I also am on a video game podcast with my friend Don, and that is at gamingon10.com. Well, that's all. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.